Hello everyone, welcome to a quick little emergency broadcast again, where we discuss current news and events as they come out. In this case, a Sonic Mania pre-order trailer. And today, just to discuss this, we have Blazy.
Hey.
Garaco.
Hello.
Simple.
Spook.
And Yoto.
Howdy.
And of course yours truly, Fattoler. So let's just take the trailer and go through it bit by bit. Now that we've all seen it and we've relaxed and stopped running around the house in wild exuberance, we can now just, compose our thoughts. So right off the bat, we know that this game is rated E for everyone for mild cartoon violence.
I'm glad it's not extreme cartoon violence. That would have been too far.
Crude
becomes a pancake. That's what extreme cartoon violence is.
I thought it was going to be 18 plus. I thought I was going to see some hedgehog nudes.
Although,
wait for the part where Eggman just blows Sonic up and there's just realistic blood and skeleton.
Hyper-realistic.
Hyper-realistic!
Yeah.
And then the title changes and it's like the E turns sideways and it says EXE.
That would be quite the bait and switch, wouldn't it?
You thought you would get a good Sonic game? Too bad.
You thought you were going to get a decent plot. Joke's on you.
May I just
Screw
say,
you.
I haven't actually seen mild cartoon violence before. I've seen comic mischief, which, according to the ESRB website, it stands for... What's it say here? It basically means depictions or dialogue involving slapstick or suggestive humor, which means, I guess, innuendos.
Sonic's going to be suggestive to Tails. I don't know how to deal with this.
The things that happen on your average Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, like Sonic would be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna kick Eggman's butt," and like some, super conservative mom's like, "Did he just say the B word?"
Well, the case he kicked someone. That's violence.
Oh
yeah,
no, Robotnik! Oh my god, how vulgar!
But seriously, yeah. But let's get into the actual trailer itself. We've already talked about the E rating, which, I mean, would anyone have been surprised if it was rated like? What else could it be rated like a?
It's rated M.
There would be no reason for a side-scrolling platformer like this to be E10. Like I believe, I forget if okay. I'm trying to remember how many Sonic games even did get slapped with the E10 rating.
There's like
Shadow
and
06.
Really? I thought Shadow was T.
06 got it.
Oh yeah, Shadow was T, I think.
Oh no, Sonic Lost World got an E+, E10.
That's what it was. Okay.
Because they said death and die.
I'm gonna bury you alive.
Yeah, and
Jesus, Eggman.
I'm going to pound that blue butt. Or, no, blue behind.
Oh, yo! I didn't know we were back on the podcast.
No, that's a T. At least.
That would be a T, wouldn't it?
I know we're all excited here, but can we just try to take it in turn? I'm
trying to.
I know it's hard.
The jokes are too easy to make.
But yes, let's get into the actual meat of this trailer, rather than just talking about the E ratings. So we start off with this nice little Sonic sketch, and we see him having bunny ears drawn on.
Sonic's Marge confirmed?
Sorry?
Feel the rabbit?
Sonic is Marge confirmed, because Marge is supposed to have bunny ears.
Oh yeah. But, no, I think it's a callback to the rejected bunny design from the concept art stages of Sonic.
Feel the rabbit.
Feel the rabbit?
Yes.
Was that actually his name, or you just made
that's what I was seeing in certain discussions of it after the trailer had dropped, and from there that makes sense anyway, because that would explain where the whole thing with the Rub Rabbits came from with those games on the DS. Because that was also Sonic Team.
Okay.
That, and aside from that, and also worth noting, Feel's gameplay concept was reused for Rystar, but that's getting off topic.
Oh yes, because it is like grab stuff.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Sorry, I get you now.
I was gonna say, I want to point out after Sonic kind of pops into existence, he is like surrounded by all sorts of like little simple shapes, very reminiscent of like the level
Japanese
select
box
screen.
art?
Yeah,
Sonic box art.
Yeah, the box art of the Japanese game stuff, and like the spiky things at the very beginning of Sonic level as well. It creates this feeling of like it's the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what is that? Is style called? Is it like pop art or I don't know?
It's kind of pop art, yeah.
Geometry.
But nice little, very 80s, geometric shapes and all the rest of it. But
I wouldn't call that 80s. I'd call that more early 90s.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the late 80s, early 90s sort of blend together like all crossover periods do.
Are you implying that time isn't fluid?
No, I'm actually implying that dates aren't set in stone and events decades aren't black and white.
Yeah.
They gradually change.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, non-linear stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But carrying on, obviously we see this fantastic animation by Tyson Hess, which is reminiscent of the OVA. Not the OVA, but actually I suppose the OVA a little bit.
It's a little bit, but Hess's style is very much,
Toei.
unique. Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say Toei. It is reminiscent of the CD intro, but I would say it's a little bit unique to how he draws Sonic. It's almost like an amalgam of other versions of Sonic. Like there's a lot of CD in there. There's a bit of OVA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the OVA Sonic is a little bit lanky, and so it's opening to CD. And then this one kind of fuses the cute little chubby classic Sonic with the CD opening and OVA style. So I kind of like it in that sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the OVA spikes are like way shorter, which is like my only gripe with that design is how short his spikes were.
Well, I suppose horse for courses. So we open up with Mirage Saloon, and when I first saw this, I thought that was Knuckles or Almighty even just following Sonic behind him, and I thought, oh wow, we're getting co-op. But then it turned out it was a badnik. Also, if you look very carefully, you can see that the loop-de-loop crumbles away when you run past it, which is quite a nice little visual effect, and also provides a bit of challenge, I'd say. I wonder if it would respawn, but I imagine not.
I mean, it's one of those things that probably wouldn't matter if it respawns. It just means that you're going to have to spin dash to get up that little hill.
Yeah. Also, I mean, actually, just interesting, because they have a similar thing in Green Hill Zone with the disappearing bridges, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it's very reminiscent of Sandopolis, because there's a lot of, breaking sand structures in that zone.
Because there's a lot of sand.
Destructible environments. Yeah.
Levolution.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice seeing all three characters appear one by one when he goes up that ramp. That's all called. They're called ramps, aren't they? Then next sort of point of interest is the trash compactor, which we believe is in Flying Battery Zone.
Based on the environment, yes.
Yeah.
Looking at the background, that's Flying Battery.
And the fact that the compactor was actually shown in Flying Battery's initial reveal as well.
Yeah. Also, fun fact: you can see Splats the bunny in the trash.
Yeah, you can also see a Flicky flying off screen.
And you can also see a monitor, a grounder, a few motorbugs, I was supposed to say piranha plant, a chomper, and also some purple thing. I don't know what that is.
There's also like a fox in there, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah, some...
It's Trash the Fox.
But I think we are assuming this will be like the Zone 1 boss. We're still not really sure if... We haven't actually seen Eggman in this game, but that's something we'll talk about later at the end of this.
I was gonna say, it could be the Zone 1 boss, although it could easily be the Zone 2 boss, because it's very reminiscent of the Zone 2 boss from the original Flying Battery.
I mean, do you think that Dr. Eggman's sort of just above you somewhere, and you go and get up to him after you beat the trash compactor? Or is it just like a stage hazard?
It may just be a stage hazard. Maybe you're like dropped in there or something.
At the same time, though, it is very, very reminiscent of some previous bosses, such as, for example, Hydra City Act 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2 minutes in, so it probably is a boss, but then again, it could just be a slow player, so, you know...
Here they get someone who's not fast to advertise Sonic.
Well, you know, they have lots of time to do these things, I guess. It must be fun being like one of these sort of playtester types, although I've heard it's actually really dull.
Alright. I'm also fairly certain that they aren't actually using like actual players to record these. I'm pretty sure that they're just using demos, because that tends to be what they use for these, just so they can get like some actually decent gameplay.
Oh, okay. I mean, how do demos actually work? I mean, is that like an?
It's like an
AI.
I think it's
effectively a task, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. It's essentially a TAS. Yeah. Just like the programmers like make something like that.
Well, it's mostly just like debug mode, I think. You just choose the level,
like that, yeah.
Just like, hey, this is where he's going to be in the level. Let's just record this and then move on.
Perhaps.
So at the 44 mark, we see what is pretty obviously Stardust Speedway's past version, which does bring up an interesting point, because obviously in Sonic CD, well, A, Sonic CD levels are confirmed in this, and B, will it be, you know, the whole gimmick of Sonic CD was that you could visit past, present, and future versions of each zone. So, in Sonic Mania, will we see just the past version of Stardust Speedway, or will we start off in the past and then end up in either the future or the present in Zone 2 or 1, whatever it may be?
Well, I hope that whatever they do, they don't use bad feature again. I think everyone's already had enough of that for now.
Yeah, when they decanonize... Well, no. Sonic 4 didn't happen. Never mind.
Sorry?
Sonic 4 didn't happen, never mind. I was about to say, we already saw it in Sonic 4.
Yeah, and actually the other interesting thing to bring up is how will they do the music for this? Because obviously there's the US soundtrack and the Japanese soundtrack. So will it be a remix of the two, or will they have the US soundtrack for the first zone and the Japanese for the second zone, but, you know, remixes of them?
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
Well, remember that the development team for this, Christian Whitehead and all the other people helping with this, they're set in America.
Go to West, yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's also worth noting that Whitehead was the same person that also made the Sonic CD port that was the first version of the game to offer the choice between both versions, unless the Get Gems Collection version did that as well, and I'm just forgetting.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it is quite a beautiful zone. Just looking at the background here, you can see all that Greco-Roman architecture and the vines and the leaves. I mean,
and the cherries.
And the cherries. But
and the killer plants.
And the killer plants.
I mean, man, the killer plants are beautiful this time of year.
The mean green mothers from outer space.
Yeah, but another sort of, interesting thing this brings up is because Sonic CD's level design and layout was very non-linear, and I'm assuming we are not going to be getting the past and future signposts like we had in Sonic CD. So, assuming that all of Sonic Mania will have a Sonic 2-esque, more linear level design, do you think that'll be reflected in this and Green Hill Zone's redesign levels? Will they just be more non-linear, or will they be more linear? More like the original games?
Have multiple paths based off of just the first act of Green Hill Zone. There's lots and lots of multiple paths.
Yeah, it's probably going to end up something like Sonic 3 and how they handled their levels there. Like,
especially since. Sorry. Go on ahead.
There are multiple pathways, and unlike Sonic 2, there's more than just the high and the low road.
And a lot of that is because of the fact that this is the first game. The first. Okay, well, I can't exactly say the first game, but that this is indeed following the footsteps of 3 and Knuckles more than anything else. Especially when you consider we still have Tails and Knuckles playable. We have to offer routes that cater specifically to their move lists.
So, so after the start of Speedway stage, we see a bit of the
a bit more of Mirage Saloon, yeah.
Yeah, we see a bit more of Mirage Saloon.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic of Mirage Saloon because instead of like trying to recreate something like what was it, the Sonic 2 beta stage that's set in the desert, rather than like, because you can see there's some inspiration with that, but I like the twist they have on it where it's a saloon, so you have all these like different props and the colors just look really nice as well.
It's kind of interesting because I haven't seen Sonic do kind of a Western kind of thing before.
Yeah. Although I suppose also Adventure Sonic Hedgehog episode where he went to the Wild West.
Or Knuckles' hat.
Knuckles' hat, yeah. But then we see perhaps the most interesting shot in the game in the trailer. In Studiopolis Zone, you see various egg robos, and I forget what is his name. It's
the Heavy Gunner.
Heavy Gunner. And, it just brings up an interesting thing, which I mentioned earlier, I think, where we haven't seen Eggman in this trailer or any other trailer so far. So it does bring up the question whether or not will we see him, as a level boss in this game, or are they just keeping mum on that for the time being?
Like, honestly, based on what we've seen from the game so far, because we have seen at least a small handful of bosses, it looks like it's going to be following the Sonic 3 template of your like a lot of this game has been following Sonic 3's template, but your Act 1 boss is going to be a unmanned robot of sorts that Eggman isn't really controlling, or that nobody's really controlling. But instead of the Act 2 boss being Eggman, like it was in 3 and Knuckles, instead we're getting the hard-boiled heavies.
Yeah.
I just call them egg robos.
Like,
so basically, the hardboiled heavy is going to be like our Koopalings.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, Eggman Super Robot Toku Sentai. That's what we're going to be fighting for the first act.
I'm okay with that.
The second act, we'd probably be taking on the Fat Man himself.
If you think about it, it's probably a good idea for Eggman to get these heavies to do the work for him, because then he can spend his time actually, committing to his plans and building them.
Just, conspiracy theory time here. Maybe the big twist is that at the end, Eggman has gone to the future to help present Dr. Eggman, and that leads into Sonic Forces. Sorry? I heard a pain scream there.
I was saying tie-ins.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that just be an amazing twist to have... they go into the the elevator, go to the top floor, they expect to see Dr. Eggman for the final boss, and he's not there. He's gone to the future, and then to be continued in Sonic Forces.
I can hear the pain screaming from Panzer in the distance.
I can hear the various threads
don't like that
wasted
idea.
by
at all.
The real final boss is actually modern Sonic.
The battle to save the franchise.
He has the boost.
But yeah, to be honest, I would like to have Dr. Eggman. I can't see them not having Dr. Eggman as like a regular boss throughout the game, because that is such a mainstay and actually really a common trope of Dr. Eggman, or rather something that's very unique to him, is that unlike Dr. Wily or Bowser, he's always there.
Well, I was going to bring up, in Sonic and Knuckles, he has an Egg Robo doing all of his dirty work if you play as...
That's Knuckles. Yeah, sorry.
That's mainly because Knuckles' storyline's going on roughly the same time as Sonic's.
No.
Actually, I looked that up. It's actually supposed to be taking place after...
Sonic 4 didn't happen.
Well, the
Knuckles storyline in Sonic and Knuckles is actually taking place after Sonic beats Eggman, and then Egg Robo is trying to like rebuild everything again, and Eggman's
Okay, I wasn't really aware of that. But also, let's just say, the hard-boiled heavies all riding in the helicopter together, it looks great.
Well, okay. Quick clarification here. What it is there are, the only one that's a hard-boiled heavy there is the heavy gunner. The others are just regular, the blue one. The rest of them are just Egg Robo.
Yeah.
And so what it is the hard-boiled heavies are going to be most likely the Act 2 boss of each zone. And I was going to bring this up earlier with when you mentioned, I forget who it was that mentioned the Act 1 boss being the hard-boiled heavy and then Act 2 boss being Eggman. We've already seen Green Hill Act 1, and we know that doesn't apply to either. And that's where my suggestion of it just being the typical unmanned, indistinct bosses, if you will.
Do you think they might have 3-act zones?
I think they've already confirmed it's only 2. It's two acts per zone, with each act having its own boss.
Or perhaps, like Sonic Advance 3, you know how Gamarel, or however you say it,
right?
Shark 2.0 fits into it. Like he was like essentially like a pre-boss boss,
right?
Like or phase 1, if you will.
Oh, so
what if the hard-boiled heavies are the phase 1 of Sonic Mania?
I mean, actually, it's an interesting thing, because if you look carefully at the helicopter, you can see it's got little leg things. Do you think that... And actually, it does look slightly like the Eggmobile. So do you think that at the end of the level, Dr. Eggman will jump into it, and then it'll turn into the final boss? Well, not the final boss, but the second, sort of, as you were saying, the second boss at the end of each second zone. Second act, even, whatever. So I keep getting those mixed up.
Fighting the final boss.
It's like, I could see it. It's just, I feel like we just don't have enough to go on for that based on the fact that we have not seen Eggman himself once in this game.
Yeah, as I said, it's just, that is odd. And although I doubt my theory that this is all tying in Sonic Forces, if it did happen, I'd be pretty chuffed with myself for predicting it. I won't lie. Also, let's just
into the universe.
Sorry?
And you breathed it into the universe.
Yes, I memed it into existence. But let's just also get one thing out of the way. The sprites in this game are fantastic. I do like that they've gone back to the Sonic 1, Sonic 2 style, chubby sprites, rather than the more, I guess, slightly cooler but
athletic,
just not quite as,
not as lanky and stylized as the 3D look, or even the advanced look.
What I was trying to say, it goes to that really iconic design of Sonic, that which rhymes. I apologise for that. Certainly didn't know it.
The sprites also remind me of Knuckles Chaotix.
The what?
Knuckles
yes.
The colours and
the palette is very
bright
nice. Like that.
Well, this is supposed to look like a classic Sonic game on the Sega Saturn, which I think Sega Saturn can do a lot better than this, but I don't know. We unfortunately never found out.
And on that note of trying to emulate Saturn games, I know I'll probably get lynched for this statement, but with the visual style and just with the way the parallax scrolling is working, especially with this boss fight with the heavy bomber, anybody else getting Freedom Planet vibes?
I see what.
Get out.
Because it looks like a good game.
I actually do like Freedom Planet. It's quite fun.
Freedom Planet's alright. I mean, I broke my gamepads over it, but whatever.
I never played it, and I have no real interest in it. I mean, we get to see all three characters run, fly, climb, and glide,
and glide and punch.
Actually, that sort of interesting thing. And Knuckles doesn't actually punch enemies; he simply does it as an idle animation.
With and it's topped off with the ever so famous chuckle that he supposedly does not do.
Yeah, that rap's a load of rubbish.
Sonic.
He'd rather flex his muscles.
But then, of course, we get to the final bit, which is this fantastic animation again by Tyson Hesse. And I love how Tails is really excited to see Sonic coming over, and Knuckles is just a bit, this guy, that fast bastard.
Fasted.
I hate these.
The fastard. Sonic the fastard. But also, when I first saw this, I didn't realise that it was Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and then Mania at the top, but on the little elevator, the lift panel. Honestly, I was just thinking, like, is M like a floor designation in the United States for like the top of the building or something?
No, it's
Mania, yeah.
Or
also, it's Mortal Kombat. We're having the ultimate early 90s crossover. Sonic and Sub-Zero, Raiden and Knuckles, Tails and Striker. They're all coming together.
I can't wait to see Sonic's fatality where he just throws you into a spike pit.
Sonic's fatality will be he'll turn into a buzzsaw and then jump right into you and just cut right through you.
I'm sorry. I know this trailer is supposed to evoke nostalgia, but when did I get transported to early 2000s Newgrounds?
Tails' fatality is he throws you up and then he flies and you just get shredded by the propeller.
Actually, now I really want to see this. Although, actually, it's probably been done in the
I actually saw like a flash where it was Sonic versus Mario. Like, this was like old Newgrounds.
Yeah, or it's Mario. Yes, the final level. The final level in
it's
Sonic
the Mushroom
Mania
Kingdom.
Mario. Or the Mushroom Kingdom.
Also, side note, Knuckles has fingers in this shot.
Does he? Where?
Yes, he does.
Like when he's looking at the elevator outside, he's doing like a pensive kind of finger thing. He's like, oh.
Oh yeah, so he does. And then I just love how all the colours suddenly pop out when he presses Mania.
Please tell me that means that the full. I really hope that means that the full final version of all this will be in color if it is in the game, and not just for the trailers.
Do you also get like animated cutscenes between the levels, or like between certain levels?
It's worth noting that there was still that test footage that was leaked. That apparently, from what I've heard, someone actually got fired over.
Oh dear.
Of Sonic fighting.
Someone got fired over, but I don't know who.
I don't know who it was either, but. There was some test footage that was leaked that we had no idea what it was from at first, of an animated scene of Sonic fighting a hard-boiled heavy. So, which that did not show up in this trailer, but it was still very much the same style, very unmistakably Hess. So, at the very least, we may be getting an opening and ending cutscene a lot like what CD had, if not outright the level transition cutscenes.
Yeah. Also, just interesting thing about this elevator or lift. Sorry, we called it lifts, but whatever. I mean, will that actually be in the game at all, or is it just something for the trailer? Do you think?
I'm of the opinion that it's just an aesthetic thing for the trailer.
Because I was thinking that we don't know the plot of Sonic Mania. And I'm assuming it's going to be like a sort of not a rehash, but it'll be a new story, but set in familiar locations.
Half and half, like 60-40 old new.
Yeah, well, we know that much, but I was just saying, like, in terms of the actual plot, it's not going to be
like whether we'll be going like South Side Island, West Side Island, Angel Island, possibly, maybe Little Planet. Island. We don't know.
Yeah, but what I mean is that it won't be like just a level select, play classic games and play what if games. There will be an actual plot. I'm just assuming, and nor will it be
that there is a story to this game.
Yeah, but there's also there won't be like in Sonic Generations where you're just doing a level select and you're in this hub of an elevator. Which is unlikely, but it's a possibility. Considering
it would be. Sorry, go on ahead.
I'm pretty sure that the menu is just going to be like the elevator, but it just like as a motif. I think that's kind of what they're going to go for.
Yeah, that it could be a good motif actually. And also, just want to say, like, the final shot of Sonic and Knuckles and Tails is really good. I like how they've done the head-on for Sonic here, because if you've ever watched Sonic Underground or read Sonic the comic, you are very familiar with the blue Christmas tree, which they often do for head-on shots for Sonic. Here, it looks natural, and, I mean, it's a bit like Mickey Mouse, really, and how, you know, I mean, Yoto, you talked about this the other day, how Mickey Mouse's or some other cartoon characters, when you... Well, no, it's Charlie Brown. It's like Charlie Brown side-on and Charlie Brown head-on don't really line up.
Yeah, like it's aesthetically you can understand like that's his nose and everything, but when he's looking forward, his nose is way lower on his face. It's like a 2D trick where it's like you understand where everything is in space, but you know it doesn't quite add up. But because it's animation, you understand that.
Hang on, what was that? And yeah, then that's final shot. So let's just break down the trailer, and now we've gone through it all, and just, well, you know. So now we've gone through the whole trailer, let's just, you know, have a quick general discussion. First of all, quick thing to point out, this is obviously the pre-order trailer, so if you want to do the right thing and buy Sonic Mania, I mean, I assume we are all going to buy Sonic Mania, like the drones we are.
Several times.
I already have my collector's edition pre-ordered.
I've pre-ordered mine on Steam, which is 10% off, and also, it is really cheap for what it is. And
mine wasn't.
What?
I said mine wasn't. Mine was $80. But I get a statue with it.
I mean, I am disappointed that we aren't getting an actual physical release of this game, because you would think that.
I'm surprised that.
What?
I was just gonna say I'm surprised that at least that not even the Switch version is getting a physical release, because I could see at least that getting physical, if nothing else.
But no, I mean, I just think it's rather satisfying to actually have a copy, you know, on you, just for posterity.
Physical release either.
Well, yeah, but Sonic 4's like...
Sonic 4 was a repurposed mobile game.
It didn't happen.
Well, actually, I think Sonic 4 did have a physical release, like a very limited one. But
I've never heard of this.
Wrong. I mean...
Shut up.
I mean, I'll look it up now, but... I mean, while you're... You know, anything else you want to add? I mean, you know, I don't want... I mean, I'm the host, but, you know, we can talk.
It's...
Looking at the Steam page again, it says that there is a competitive mode. Did we already know about that?
I forget if they had said anything about that or not, but it makes sense that we're seeing the versus mode from 2 and 3 come back.
I hope that they actually have like online with that, so that you can actually, you know, competitive online.
Yeah, I believe like even later ports of Sonic 2 and 3 had that, such as the Xbox Live Arcade versions of 2 and 3 had that as an option. So Mania should undoubtedly have that.
Also, by the way, there was no Sonic 4 physical release. That was just me being stupid.
Let's not assume things. You know, let's not act like Sonic hasn't dropped the ball before.
Oh, absolutely. But this is let me have my hope that this is the one game that's going to fire on all cylinders right.
Yeah, because I think, you know, we need this, especially. I mean, are we still going to call Sonic Forces bad? Because I don't know.
I'm hesitant to call Forces outright bad. I'm not going to say, like, I'm certainly very, very hesitant on it, not necessarily just because of OCs, really. I've been hesitant on Forces ever since we've learned that Sonic Team just seems to have a fundamental problem with learning from their past mistakes by the classic footage.
Yeah.
But this feels like a far safer bet in quality than Forces has, unfortunately, any chance to be. And I say that as someone that does really, really want to see modern Sonic games turn out well.
Yeah, likewise.
Like, I've never considered myself a classic friend, if you will, but I just want good games.
Yeah, we all do. I mean, again, going back to my earlier point, I was slightly being facetious, but do you think is any possibility that there may be some sort of connection between this game and Forces?
I think that it absolutely is a possibility, and that may very well be part of why Sega has been so hush-hush about both. as well as the fact that both have been being revealed at the same time. I think there's more going on with it than we know. I just can't really say anything too solid on that, just because, well, we don't know.
Obviously we don't know. It's fun to speculate.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, as I said, as we haven't seen Eggman in this game at all, it's just sort of...
It would be a fitting explanation.
It would be, yeah, and it would actually make sense as well, because I can actually... Honestly, I can just see it now. Like, the last shot of the game would be Sonic, like, classic Sonic running into some sort of time portal.
I don't believe that is, something that is impossible. I'm just going to say I wouldn't like it. Just how I felt with OCs. I'm not denying that they could do that. I'm just saying I'd hope they don't.
But then again, we thought that they'd have anything else but...
the ultimate break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah, ruined forever sort of thing. Well, no, not ruined. I was thinking the Transformer... Never mind. There's a joke on, like, the Transformers Wikipedia where break glass or pull handle in case of ruined forever. Also, by the way, Garaco, we're just having a post-trailer chat, and we're just talking about the possibility of this being connected to Sonic Forces.
The only way I think Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces are going to be connected is Sonic and the year they were released in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it.
I don't think there's going to be any connection between them, considering that Sega are making Forces with the big official team, whereas Mania is being developed by a small sort of indie group.
It's also worth noting that Forces has been in the works far longer than Mania has.
However, in that note, it would more so than having a organic, an intertwining between the two. It would be a lot easier in that instance, and especially given Mania's nature as not being super plot heavy, but still having a plot, to just have Mania's plot tie into Forces, but not necessarily the other way around. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I just think that. Now I've got into my head, I'm really starting to seriously consider that this may in fact be a build-up to the two games sort of being connected somehow, and that being the reasoning why Eggman got into, the present and all the rest of it.
And there's still the question of how Eggman got out of the White Void in Generations, but then, again, pans are screaming in the distance.
Yeah, I'd understand if, why people would not like this, but I personally would be... I'd think it'd be quite interesting for them to do it. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a completely standalone, nothing to do with anything else game, but I would not be surprised if it was wasn't a tie-in, but, was connected. And in either case, I'd be happy. The music, yeah, like Hyper Potions, wasn't it, Blazy?
Yes.
They're very good boys.
It's on point, really. Just putting it out there.
There has been something special about these trailers that we haven't seen with Sonic game trailers in a while, and the marketing for Mania has been better than we've probably seen for a Sonic game in quite some time.
The difference between this and... I'm not just talking about the reception itself, but just the way it's been marketed. Sonic Mania has really pushed itself, and... I guess one of my concerns about this game is that... Well, actually, no, it's not even a concern, because here they've done nostalgia pandering, but they've done it right. They've not put it too in your face. Well, it just feels natural.
One thing I was saying yesterday is that this feels like nostalgia pandering, it doesn't feel like nostalgia pandering so much as it feels like nostalgia. It doesn't feel like a group of businessmen saying, people will remember this, and so therefore they'll buy it. It feels like a group of Sonic fans who are like, I remember this, I'd like to make a game with these things in it.
Yeah, and they put new things in as well. That's the joy of it all. It feels like... if you're ever rebooting or remaking something, do as these people did. Have a real enthusiasm for the classics or the source material, but also add your own spin and make something that feels new and nostalgic. because this game's really doing that very well.
Can I admit how when Sonic Mania got announced, I was at first quite disappointed because I thought it was just going to be another Sonic 4 attempt where it's just like, oh, we can do classic. Look, guys, we're doing it. And then I was just like, oh, we're just going to get a classic game for like the main series now because they can't seem to recapture this lost old magic. And then they announced Forces, and I'm like, oh, so we are actually getting a good 3D game. And then I saw classic Sonic appear in the Forces trailer. I'm just like, yeah, just give me Mania.
Yeah, I mean, just so going back to what I was saying, I mean, Sonic Forces promotions and what is called advertising. That's it. Yes, the advertising for Sonic Forces has just not been on the same level as this, and again, that might just be because people are more hyped for Sonic Mania than they are for Sonic Forces. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, what sort of, really cool or amazing things have we seen other than perhaps the OC character? And I guess they will build up fairly quickly in terms of, releasing information.
They've been trying to stay incredibly quiet on Forces. I think a lot of that veil is going to be lifted up first at E3, and then it's going to be pushed even harder after Mania is out, because I think they've been trying hard to not seemingly undercut Mania in a sense. Even though I don't think Mania has much to worry about in that regard. But but either way, Sega has definitely been trying to keep their hand closed a lot more with this than they have. Like, I mean, like, the flow of information with Sonic games has always been kind of typically a bit of a drip feed. But it's been even more so with both of these games, and I think it's been more noticeable because there are two games and because they are releasing both so closely to each other.
Yeah.
So we're really just going to have to wait until the fall before we really get a solid idea of where. Oh, maybe so much the fall. Okay, if not E3, then the fall for a proper idea of where Forces is really going to stand before it comes out. Unless, of course, we get 06 somehow and get a game that looked better pre-release than it actually did after it came out.
Yeah, well, that's always a possibility as well, I'm afraid. You never can tell. So, what else can we talk about? Also, yes, the vinyl, which I know was announced beforehand.
I was going to say, I don't think it's been confirmed. I think they were gauging interest. If not, I forget if they were gauging interest or outright said we're doing this, but it was first mentioned at South by Southwest 2017.
Yeah. But I mean, I was just wondering, has there been news on that? I don't think there has been. Will you be getting a vinyl? I mean, do you have a vinyl player? I do.
My brother has one. He would probably shoot me if I saw me using it.
I'm not sure if I would get a vinyl just because of a lack of portability, and I like to listen to Sonic music as I go. Like,
Yeah, well, they'll probably do like a soundtrack on iTunes or whatever.
I'd probably buy it for the novelty.
I'd buy it
because
have a vinyl player. I would be lying if I said I wasn't kind of tempted, but at the same time, I could see myself just because I've got other things going on that the money needs to go towards.
That's true, yeah. But I mean, I was just saying, and you buy a giant Sonic statue.
I did buy my $80 Sonic statue. Thank you very much.
That's why he doesn't have the money anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, in terms of collectible stuff, I've really started to go off it, because I always felt collectible stuff was kind of gimmicky, but now I just realised that, you know what, I'm going to be like the unpopular guy here. I just do not want that collector's edition for Sonic Mania, because I don't need a giant statue of Sonic in my living room or my bedroom or even my basement. I don't really need like a game cartridge with a gold ring in it. However,
it's a good way to say I love Sonic and I don't respect money.
Or my dignity, even. Or self-respect. No, but seriously, like, I like the idea of a collectible edition having a vinyl, because a vinyl or a CD or an art book is at least practical in some manner. You can use it, and certainly I could easily see myself, getting out the Sonic Mania vinyl, putting it on, and listening to some good old-fashioned chip tunes on nice audio quality. I mean, at the very least, you'd get some nice, cover art, I imagine, for it. So, is there anything else anybody wants to bring up before we head off?
We're noting that the elevator has no CD on it. But
yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Someone actually just posted in the thread at, like, a fixed image, quote unquote.
Well, I think they made that though.
I know they made that,
but it's okay. The question being here is, why is that a thing, and yet we still have Stardust Speedway in the game? It raises questions, if you ask me.
I mean, as we said, will Stardust Speedway be will it be past then future, or both past, or will it transition during the level, or will it be a mixture, like a mixture of future and past in the same zone or same act? I keep getting those mixed up.
I don't know that Sonic terminology.
Sorry?
You gotta know that Sonic terminology.
Yeah, sorry. Let's just wrap this up, as this is a short podcast. We're just having a quick discussion of various things. Okay, let's just do quick estimations as of the 31st of May. How well do you think this game will do, A, in terms of sales, and B, in terms of ratings? So, Blazy, sales, ratings?
Ratings, I see it probably getting, if I'm going to have to be honest, just going, like, if we're talking, like, games journalists and whatnot, I see it probably getting 7s to 8s.
Mm-hmm.
And as for sales, that's actually a very good question. I think it actually will do very well. Meanwhile, if I have to speak for myself, I'm calling Game of the Year right now.
Good call. Garaco, sales, ratings?
In regards to ratings, I think it will do rather well critically, like, because, game journalists have always been kind of clamoring for this sort of dream Sonic game going back to the classics and such, and now we're finally getting it. It could go either way of them being like, oh, Sega didn't do exactly how we wanted, or this is actually quite dull, all that stuff. But on the other hand, they could just be like, yeah, this is exactly what we wanted. In terms of sales, I think it really depends, because I think the reception to Sonic in general, as we all know, like the reaction to Sonic in general is quite negative. They've been trying to fix that. So really, I think the fact that they made this game quite cheap helps its case, because now people who maybe aren't so into Sonic can see this game for about, over here it's like £13, and they'd be like, oh, well, it's not that expensive, I could try it. And also with the Steam Summer Sale, it might be even cheaper.
Yeah, I feel a bit of a mark for pre-ordering it now, but I guess they just got to support Sonic. Simple?
Yeah, I think it's going to do pretty well sales-wise. Journalism-wise, I think the ones that are actually trustworthy and not too much water, IGN.
Not fake news.
Yeah, not fake reviews. Yeah, I think it's going to do pretty well, like in both camps. But of course, you're always going to.
Sorry.
Yeah, and of course, you're always going to have those Sonic was always bad people. Aaron.
Yeah, well, and Yoto.
Well, I think critically, it'll probably receive quite a bit of acclaim. Maybe not from like all game journalists, but just like fans and just general opinion consensus will be that it's a well-made game. And sales-wise, I'm not quite sure where to say. Like, I think it'll sell good, but I don't think it'll sell great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it'll sell in its niche audience, and then maybe a few, want to try it out, or say, oh, it's just $20, who cares? But I'm not really sure if it'll be amazing sales wise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, as everybody else has been saying, it depends on the reviewer, but overall I think I can see some high scores. And I also think that because, and I know this is perhaps too early to call, but I just think that Sonic Forces will be another one of those 7 out of 10. It's decent but not great Sonic games, and that comparison, that contrast, will make Sonic Mania look even more amazing in the eyes of critics, perhaps. In terms of sales, my big worry is that because it doesn't have a physical release, it won't get that much exposure to, casual, non-Sonic fans. And I think that's a real shame, because this game, if anything, this is going to be the game that would get people interested in Sonic, because it looks good, it harkens back to the classics, and I think it has a very wide range of appeal, because even people who just like platforming games or just, like retro-style games would be interested in this. So it's hard to tell.
I actually disagree with the argument of having a lack of exposure due to being digital only, because this has been the generation of games where we have seen some incredibly breakout successes that came from originally digital only titles.
Well, like Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight for more pertinent. Shovel Knight and Walking Dead for more. Well, Shovel Knight Shovel Knight more so is I guess the most pertinent, comparable example of Sonic Mania. The main example I actually had in mind at first was Rocket League, which ended up becoming successful enough to actually get a physical release after the fact, and even get TV ads.
I mean, do you think we'll get going on from that, do you think that we'll eventually get a physical release of Mania if it becomes even more successful? And also, do you think that it's likely, given... actually, I'll be interested to see how many pre-orders have been made already, because, just to gauge how... if it breaks the million sales mark.
That would be incredibly interesting to know. The problem is that digital sales are usually, outside of Steam, are incredibly hard to track. And by incredibly hard in this case, it's pretty much outright impossible, except for whatever the companies the companies themselves release about the game.
Yeah, I'd also be interested to see what people would be buying this for, and what platforms they are interested in getting it for.
Actually, that's an interesting point. I want to hear a roll call right now on what systems everyone's getting it for.
Okay, Steam, PC.
So PC,
PC, PS4, Switch, when I get one.
Oh, you're getting
okay, so...
I'm not getting Xbox.
Okay.
I'm smarter than that.
For me, it'd be probably Switch or PC.
And my pre-order's on PC, so I think it's interesting how much the Sonic fanbase seems to have adopted PC as the lead platform, especially after how things like the Generations modding scene cropped up.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Sega in general have really
because I can't afford
PCs.
a PS4.
Sorry, I spoke over you.
Yeah, I was saying I'm getting it on PC because I can't afford a PS4.
Fair enough. It is kind of interesting that they haven't released it on PS3 or Xbox 360, because you think that would be, a natural fit, because you want to widen your audience. I can't imagine it'd be that difficult to port it to PS3 360.
Actually, okay, the 360 port might not be the thing with it is the 360 port might not necessarily be so difficult, but the 360 itself is an absolute graveyard, and I don't think it's had a new release in an incredibly long time. In fact, to the point people own them. I think you'd be incredibly hard pressed to see people actually buying new digital titles on it. And as for the PS3, it's just such a different and difficult development environment, to the point that it's comparable to being the Sega Saturn of its generation, that it would not be worth the effort for porting it.
Well, if it's the Sega Saturn, it's done pretty well for itself.
It's a Sega, it's not so much a Sega Saturn in regards to sales, but just in regards to the infrastructure and how difficult it is to program for.
Ah, fair enough.
They're dead, Jim.
The power of the cell.
Yes. But yeah, I think, generally speaking, it's interesting again how to compare this to Forces. We've generally become more and more excited each time we've seen a new thing from Mania, and we've become gradually less excited the more we see from Forces, which is a shame, because as Blazy
Sorry to
said...
interrupt, but something's come up. I've got to go. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. I think, as I said, we're about to wrap this up anyway. It's just interesting how we seem to be getting less interest in Forces and more interest in Mania, and I don't want that to be the case. I would like Forces to do well, but it's just quite hard to love at times. I mean, I'm looking forward to Forces, and I think it'll be decent, but I don't think it's going to be well received, because, I mean, all Sonic games get slightly divided receptions, but, you know, Sonic doesn't need a game with a divided reception right now. He needs a good game, and as Blazy said, they need to learn from their mistakes. I don't know, it's just a final thought out there. Yeah. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this little podcast, and we'll see you around for some. I guess we'll try and get the Sonic 2 or the Sonic 1, depending on when this is released, up soon. And well, when I say Sonic 2 or Sonic 1, I mean the retrospectives. So this is kind of an emergency session because the trailer came out yesterday at the time of recording. So from all of us here. Goodbye, Garaco.
Goodbye.
Simple, do you want to say?
I bid, though adieu.
And you?
Catch you later.
And from me, fattoler, goodbye, and thanks for joining us. Cheerio.